Hey, it's Aaron from the Master Plumbers Association, and today we just wanted to bring you a quick video surrounding the 2025 standard update. So there's no secret that the 3500 suite has recently been released under the 2025 edition, and as with every update, this release brings with it several changes. In Victoria, we know that the 2025 edition must be used from the completion of the transition period, and that ends on the 20th of October. For any other state or territory, this information wasn't available at the time of filming, so you'll have to check with your governing authority. In this video, we'll let you know at a high level what has changed in these standards, with some more in-depth information being made available to members in their members portal over the coming days. This will also be a two-part video series, so make sure you look for the other part. In part one, we're going to be looking at hot and cold water services, so let's kick off with cold water services. The very first change comes early on in the standard, clause 2.3, pipes, fittings and connector general limitations. It used to have a very broad clause surrounding the use of semi-flexible connectors and braided flexible hoses. It's now been extended into a standalone clause, 2.3.2, and subsequent sub-clauses that cover off accessibility, the classification of the hose for intended purpose, operating temperature, and submerged applications. So this is one that you are going to want to check out. Clause 2.5.3, there's limitations now on the selection of polyethylene pipes installed in the northern regions of Australia. So it's not so much for an issue here in Victoria, but anyone working up north, you are going to need to check that clause out. There's been a change in clause 4.4, provisions for backflow prevention devices, more specifically in table 4.41. In 2021, atmospheric vacuum breakers were elevated to be suitable as a high hazard device in the non-testable, non-registered area of the table. In 2025, these have been moved in the table to a registered or testable device. So atmospheric vacuum breakers can now be used for high hazard ratings if it's fitted with a line straightener, except for fire service. An important note though with the atmospheric vacuum breakers, because it's something that we get asked about a lot, is that they can't be pressurised for more than 12 hours. So they need to be able to be isolated in order to be able to be used. That can be found under clause 4.6.3.2. Clause 5.4, isolation valves, more specifically 5.4.2, which is to do with the location. It has a new point added in there that an isolation valve must be installed immediately before each flexible hose assembly connected to a mixer valve or tap outlet. Whilst this is new in the standard, majority of flexi hoses have required this under a manufacturer's installation guidance anyway. There's a new clause 5.20, and this covers how to connect miscellaneous devices and appliances to drinking water supply. There's a section 16, and that has updated requirements for rainwater tanks and rainwater supply systems, but this is in New Zealand only, so don't get caught using that in Australia. Next, we're going to move on to the heated water services. There's a new clause in that one as well, which is 2.3.2, and that is covering similar information to part one surrounding the use of flexible hose assemblies with the accessibility, classification, operating temperature, submerged applications. Next, we're going to be looking at section 10, the sizing and installation of circulatory heated water reticulation. More specifically, clause 10.10.2 and isolating valves. They've added a new point in there, which is very similar to the one that has been added in cold water services. And it basically states that you have to have an isolation valve installed immediately before each flexible hose assembly connected to a mixer valve or tap outlet. Don't forget, if you are a Victorian Master Plumbers Association member, you can already access these updated standards plus a bunch more as part of your membership. Make sure you keep an eye out for part 2, where we'll be covering off drainage and stormwater. Thanks, have a great day.